In this tutorial I'm going to run through making the eye, although I do have another tutorial on the website about making an eye. I use a shader there, and it's also a NURB object, but it's pretty much the same techniques, but this time I'm just going to use this polygon sphere here. Now I just want to check where the iris of the eye is, and I can see here that it's approximately this circle here. If the existing edges of your circle don't match up with the iris, then you can simply do shift click and insert an edge loop, and you can decide wherever that might be. That's where you want to have your iris there. The actual pupil of the eye here needs to be a little bit bigger. Let me just undo so this area here, so I could actually say around about here is where I want to have my pupil, so then I can get some idea. So what I want to do is, I might just want to reference where I am, so just select face. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Right, so I want to select that face there, just so when I go into perspective I can see what I'm doing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch off the head here, and the hair, let's just concentrate on this so I can see where I'm selecting. With the selection, I don't want to select the other side of the model, so I could just double click on my move tool, go to drag, click on drag, camera based selection, so it's not going to select through the back, and just drag over this, and then what I want to do is say edit mesh, extract, and I will just leave it on those settings, so I'll just say apply. So that's separated these polys out. Now what I want to do is actually flip them around. So the easiest way to do this is simply D, we'll go to a rotate tool, D and V, and just snap this over into the corner. I'm just going to take my selection tool back actually to marquee here. Let's just do that again. So D and V and rotation settings, and then I can put it here, and then all I have to do is to rotate this one around. Let's do that properly, because I think that was, now what I like to do with my rotational is just put on discrete rotate, and then I can very easily just drag this around, flip it around, bring it around into this. That's done. Then the next thing I want to do is just select down here. Now you can see that it's gone black here because I'm now looking at the back side of the faces, so I will flip this around in a minute. And what am I doing here? I'll tell you what, let's just expand out my selection, just so the tab keys I can expand down, and simply say flip normals, reverse normals, and we'll get them down. Then if I do the opening tag key on the keyboard, I can reduce this one down. That's my pupil. I'm going to do the same thing, mesh, extract, same settings, my move tool, push this one back, and let's make it bigger. So now what I want is a clear surface over this. Now what I'm going to simply do is use the same sphere here. We don't actually need a complete sphere for the eye. You'll only ever see the front bit unless you're planning for the eyes to pop out. So I go into the side view here, just zoom in on this one, and I'm going to select the back half of the model here, and this time I'm going to say extract and actually create a separate surface, apply, then should have a little group here. So I've got my two groups, and what I'm going to do with the back half is flip it around. So again, I'm going to go to my rotate tool and simply flip this one over. Let me do it on this. Here we go. There's a bit. So it's like a little contact lens, basically, this one, and I'm going to call that one surface, and this one I'll call iris, and we'll call the whole group eye. Now the surface, let's just switch that one off temporarily here. So just type in 0 on the display, and the iris we can just ever so slightly reduce down in size, just so it will sit underneath, bearing in mind that the size of the eye fitted, so we don't want to make the outside bigger to fit, better to make this one smaller. And on the surface of the eye here, so let's switch on back, let's put a little texture on there. So bring this one back on again. On this one I'm going to say assign a new material. I'm going to choose a thong and get a nicer highlight and call it eye transparency or surface, eye surface texture. Surface texture. And we'll bring the transparency right up. And if I just do a quick little render here, so you see we're getting quite a nice highlight. We're also, it's whiting out quite a lot here, and this is because of reflectivity. I brought this all the way down and do a little render here. You'll see it's going to go a little bit darker. I'm not sure how much darker that really went. I've also got the cosine power here. Now, if I try to do IPR render here, then I'm probably going to get a error message on my ray tracing. That seems to be okay. So you might want to do it IPR and go to the material attributes here and simply play around with them. Let this one update. See if I bring this down, it should. Okay, transparency is good. Color diffuse, that's what we want to bring down. So if we get this one going a little bit darker here, and a little bit of specular color. I think what I'll do is I'll just leave this. I get the texture underneath first. Otherwise, I really don't have very much to work from looking at the surface underneath. So we'll just we'll come back to that one. What I want to do with the under the iris of the eye is let's just switch the surface back off again. There, we've got the texture on it now. So let's switch that one off. Go to the iris, and the simplest way to do this really is just go into a front view and say create planar mapping. Make sure, this is what the settings I have on, is camera based, so whatever I look through is good. I know it will always be good, and keep image width height ratio. Hit project, go to my UV texture editors. So here's my eye. And the only thing I want to do is to move the iris, not the iris, the pupil, or the back of the pupil. It's actually, I just want to move that one out. So what I can do is I go to face mode here, use my closing tab key again just to make the selection over to here. And then what I can do here is I can just right click, say select, convert selection to UVs, because UVs are the only things I can move here. And then drag this one over, and let's see, That didn't work very well. Let's try and check selecting UV shell. That looks a little bit better, so I didn't actually really need to. Just want to make sure I've got all those faces selected. Oh, I see, I didn't select out to the outside here. Okay, now this doesn't need any great size UV map. It's just going to be black anyway, so we can just shrink this one down and place it in the corner here. And then we've got our line here. You might want to just check that I can see that this is this iris here is going out to this line here, so it's fairly clear. I can tell here that will be my line. Okay, so I've got my UV map. I'm going to simply make a UV snapshot, 1024, 1024. I'll just browse, and I'm just going to put this into my source images simply because it will speed things up. Call it IUV. Save. Click OK. And then I'm going to go back into here and say assign a new material. I'm going to make this Lambert. I sort of find that makes things look a little bit nicer. I'll call it eye texture, iris texture. Go over to my images here. And actually before that, because I want to turn this into a PSD, because that's going to make this a bit easier. So let's just go back over to save file, open, and that's the one I want. Open it up, just do a couple of little things here. I'm just going to say image adjustments invert, and then I am just going to double click on my background layer. Click OK, select color range, click on the white, click OK, hit backspace, Control D or Apple D, deselect. So then I've got my UV map there. Now what I want to do with this is first of all just click in another layer underneath, choose white if it's not already selected, do Alt backspace, fill in the background, and not the layer with the UV. So let's just do that again. Layer 1 is the empty layer. Alt backspace, there we go. I have an image of an eye already, and I'll just open that one up. So I've got IPSD, I think is the one that I want. No, it's iris actually. Iris texture. PSD, there we go. So yeah, you can. There are tutorials on the web. You can actually will show you how to paint these sort of textures in. It's quite long-winded, but you might find it quite fun. This is simply an image I've got from the internet. So what I'm going to do is just drag this one over. Let's drag this over into here and sort of position it central. Here, and you can also, if you want to center this perfectly, simply select the background layer or complete layer, select the layer you want to align, and then if you're using the move tool at the top here, I can align it, so align the center, there we go. I now want to make it slightly bigger. Now we're going to run into a problem here that my scale of mine isn't going to really match up with the. So let's see, we can simply select this one, do Control T. Why can't I see my, because they're out in the outskirts here, so let me do it a different way. Let's just clear that selection. It's selecting the whole something on there. Now if I do a Control or Apple click on the layer, it will make a selection of that layer. Then I can do Control or Apple T. And it's still selecting everything. Okay. It's what layer have I got selected here? Let's just break that one. Switch that one off, that one off. and find out why it's selecting. Okay, wait a minute, there we go. I think deselect, Control T. No, it's still selecting everything. Okay, let's try something else. So I select the layer, select inverse, hit backspace, deselect, T, still not working. Okay, then plan B, switch the UV back on. Let's cancel that one. Switch the UV back on. Do Control T, Apple T, and then simply at the top here, do Control click or Apple click, drag along, and then just scale this one up. And we want to scale up to the boundary. And let's have a look. It seems to be very, very big. Okay, and now we have a little bit of a problem because that is a completely different size to mine. So let's just take that back the other way and we'll sort something out. So let's just bring this down a little bit. Sort of a happy medium, and that looks quite good. Just select that one, switch on the back layer, switch on this one. Let's see what we've got so far. Oh, one other thing I want to do, because otherwise it's going to look a bit strange, is black out the top here as well. So I'll just get some black and do a little selection. And I will put that onto a new layer. Alt backspace, fill it in, switch off this one, hit save. You want to save as. Save as. I'm going to have UV texture simply so I can overwrite a file I've already got. Photoshop. Save. Okay. Back into Maya. Here we go to our color texture. I'm going to say PSD. Click over here and then I texture PSD. Open it up. Check 6 is clicked on my keyboard. Right, there's the eye. And if we then switch over to our outliner, is what I'm looking for. Let's switch that one off. Click over to here and let's put the surface on here. I can see the eye is very big at the moment. Well, that's so it's not too bad. It's a little little on the lot. The iris looks a little big, but let's just have a. I probably need to do a little bit of editing on that, but right. Okay, so this technique is going to give me a lot more depth on my my eye here now. If I just did that flat, then I'm just simply not going to have this depth. I sort of lost my reflection a little bit there, so just a couple of things I can do on my on the eye here. In fact, let's have a look what it looks like closer up. And you can see now there's a certain amount of depth I'm getting in the eye by turning this around. What I also need is there's a little bit of reflection, and the specular highlight needs to be added to here. So if I just drag over this one, well, let's actually just select the texture and go to these material attributes. Here's my eye surface texture, and let's just do IPR. Drag over. And let's go back to its material attributes here. And if if I bring up the specular here, we should see it updating. And you can see around here now it's beginning to get a little bit of specular. Let's really bring it up. And then using the cosine here, I can either increase it over the surface of the eye, doesn't look so nice, or if I bring it the other way, then it's going to be a very fine little highlight, and almost, I think it's almost hidden under the thing here. So if you play around with this, you can get the highlight quite nice. But there's also, you'll see a little bit of a reflection in people's eyes as well. And let's just bring that down to about 50 odd there. So this reflection, I mean, if I bring up the reflectivity here now, you'll see that the light is, the eye is lightening up with the reflection. Now what I can do here is, if I use reflective colour, I can break up this reflection. If I click on the little tab here, and I'm going to choose ramp shader, and you'll see there's a little bit of colour comes into this one. Now what I tend to do is just switch it off to none, and then I should be able to see lines a little bit clearer here. But if you play around with the types of ramp, so I've tried like a 4-corner ramp here, you can actually start to create some quite nice reflections. Now things I'm not even sure that yeah, I can see a little bit here. So let's introduce 4 colours. Essentially this is what's going to and if I change these colours to white and black, then we should see the contrast a little bit better. So let's just black, white. And black. And let me just check, because I'm suspicious that I'm not actually seeing any well, it could also be that I need to turn up my reflectivity, so let's maybe that's actually a better idea, to switch it up nice and high so you can see if it's having any effect. Right, now I can see these lines that I'm starting to see these. You can see the breaking up of the reflection, so what I need to do is really just play around with the now here you can see this sort of abstract kind of reflection that just around here. So, and then I think we'll just bring up the specular colour a little bit. Maybe I'll pause it and just tweak the texture so you can see this. So here I've just actually used the U ramp and put a bit of a wave into it. It's really just a case of experimenting with the trying out different ones. Only other thing, I've played around with the specular colour reflectivity here, and I also, on the iris of the eye, I brought down the diffuse a little bit. It seems to give it a little bit more depth, so the diffuse is brought down here from, I think the default is 8. Let's just see. So this is what you would have started with. And this is the result, which is up to you. As I say, these things are a bit of personal choice. I kind of prefer A little bit darker here. It looks a bit too dark now, but anyway, I think the reflection has come out a bit nicer with it, a little bit darker. Okay, so there's your eye, and then of course you just copy this across to the other side.